Chosen one, time itself halts for you in this moment. Everything around you slows because heaven has chosen this precise breath to speak into your destiny. You are not here by random scrolling or mere curiosity. You are being summoned. The unseen realm has moved, and all of creation leans closer as the voice of your Creator calls your name. You have felt it for a while now, the quiet stirring in your spirit, the unshakable sense that something is shifting. It wasn't anxiety, it was awakening. You were never meant to blend in or live beneath your design. The unease you've carried was simply the pressure of a crown waiting to rest upon your head. You've been walking among those content with survival, but your spirit was built for dominion. Look back for a moment. Every trial, every heartbreak, every lonely night that made you question your worth, none of it was wasted. Heaven has been shaping you in secret, chiseling the ordinary away so that the extraordinary could emerge. You thought you were being broken. In truth, you were being built. Every tear was a tool. Every delay was divine discipline. The potter's hands never left you. There have been times you asked, why me? Why this path? Why so much pain for one soul? The answer is simple: because kings are not formed in comfort, they are forged in fire. The weight you've carried was royal training in disguise. You were never being punished, you were being prepared. The world has tried to label you with failure, but heaven has already named you with favor. You've walked through rejection so that you would recognize authenticity. You've endured silence so that you could discern the true voice of God amid the noise. You have been misunderstood because your language is not of this world. You speak the dialect of destiny. Now, hear this: the delay is over. The hidden season has served its purpose. The time of awakening has come. The King of Kings is extending his scepter toward you, not because you earned it, but because you were chosen for it. There is no accident in your existence. You were designed for this moment in history. You are the answer to someone's prayer, the miracle someone will soon witness. The ancient record bears witness to what heaven declares even now. As written in the book of Exodus, chapter 14, verse 14. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Let those words sink deep into your spirit. You do not have to strive for your throne. You only have to stand still long enough for heaven to place it upon you. The battle that once terrified you is no longer yours to fight. Royal authority begins when surrender replaces struggle. The same God who parted seas for his people will part obstacles before your destiny. Chosen one, this is your divine interruption. Heaven does not schedule by human calendars. When God decides it is time, everything accelerates. Expect sudden doors. Expect rapid favor. Expect the kind of breakthrough that doesn't make sense to the logical mind. Because when kings rise, atmospheres obey. You may have walked through shadows, but the shadows were only proof that light was behind you all along. You may have felt unworthy, but worthiness has never been the qualification for calling. What qualifies you is willingness. Heaven looks for hearts that will say yes even when trembling. And your quiet yes today shifts more in the unseen realm than you could ever imagine. Stand tall, straighten your back, lift your gaze. The crown waiting above your head does not fit a bowed posture. You were never meant to crawl through life, you were made to command it. From this day forward, your walk changes, your voice carries weight, your presence disturbs darkness. Every time you step forward, the earth recognizes royalty. Not because of earthly power, but because divine authority resides within you. The same breath that spoke galaxies into being now breathes through your words, your prayers, your presence. You are not here to take sides, you are here to take territory. Chosen one. From this day on, You walk in royal power. Speak as one who has been sent. Move as one who has been commissioned. Love as one who has seen the throne. You are the evidence that heaven still invades earth through willing vessels. If this message resonates with your spirit, if something inside you whispers, "This is me," then don't let it fade. Let your response be your royal seal. Like this message, share it so others may awaken, and subscribe to stay within the flow of revelation that crowns your journey. And now, as a prophetic act of agreement and faith, declare your alignment in the comments below by typing this number, 777. Let this number be your covenant mark, a signal to heaven that you have heard and answered the call. The angels take notice when a chosen one declares agreement. Your yes echoes through eternity. And from this day forward, your footsteps will leave the imprint of divine royalty wherever you go. You were marked long before you opened your eyes to the world, long before your first cry echoed in the air. Your destiny was already written in the divine archives. The ink that spelled your purpose was not of this earth, it was heavenly, unerasable, eternal. You were designed with precision, assigned with intention, and released into time with a mission attached to your name. Nothing about your existence is random. Every detail was foreseen, every heartbeat planned. There were blueprints drafted in the mind of God before the stars even took their positions. You were not an afterthought. You were a forethought. The universe waited for your arrival because your presence would alter the story of others. You were chosen not merely to live, but to lead light into the corners of darkness that feared your birth. Even your battles were anticipated. Even your tears were accounted for. Heaven wrote your endurance into your design. The Spirit reminds you now before any person labeled you. God named you before you were ever wounded by words. Heaven whispered identity into your soul. You have spent years trying to understand why you could sense things others could not. Why you carried empathy too heavy for your shoulders. Why you loved deeply yet suffered silently. It's because you are marked. Those who carry destiny rarely fit comfortably among those without it. Do you remember the moments you felt unseen? Those weren't moments of neglect. They were moments of protection. God hid you from people who could not handle your purpose. He kept you veiled so that premature exposure would not destroy what He was forming. Every delay that frustrated you was heaven saying, "Not yet, the foundation is still being strengthened." You were guarded even in your confusion. The Word of God confirms what heaven has always known about you. It is recorded in the book of Ephesians, chapter 1, verse 4. He chose us in Him before the foundation of the world, that we should be holy and blameless before Him in love. Those words are not distant history. They are a mirror reflecting your true nature. To be chosen before the world began means that no mistake you have made can disqualify you. Destiny predates failure. The divine decision over your life is older than your doubt. You are not the product of chance or chaos. You are the continuation of a divine promise spoken ages ago. That is why certain doors had to close. They were never written into your story. That is why certain people walked away. They were only meant to play a part in your preparation, not your coronation. Every no was God guarding your yes. You have been carried through storms that would have shattered others because the signature of heaven is on you. The enemy saw it too, which is why your warfare felt relentless. But what he failed to understand is that divine marking is not just for identification, it's for preservation. You have been kept. Even in the darkest nights, when your strength failed and your prayers felt unheard, unseen hands held you. There is a sacred pattern to your pain. You will soon realize that the things that tried to destroy you only revealed what could not be destroyed. The mark of God is indestructible. It shines even under ashes. It sings even through silence. And though you may not have seen it, heaven never lost sight of you. Now the fog begins to lift. You start to understand that the unease you've carried wasn't confusion, it was calling. The pull toward deeper things was not strange, it was summons. The hunger for more was the proof of identity stirring awake. You are stepping into remembrance now, recalling who you were before the world tried to tell you otherwise. Chosen one, there is a rhythm to destiny, and you are beginning to walk in sync with it. Each step forward will feel lighter because it aligns with the heartbeat of heaven. You will sense divine orchestration in the smallest details. A conversation, a delay, a coincidence that was never really coincidence. This is what it means to live marked. Nothing in your life is wasted, and nothing happens outside the author's knowledge. So stand firm. Do not shrink to fit spaces that were never meant for your magnitude. The same God who wrote your beginning already holds your end. And in between lies a journey filled with divine proof that you were chosen before time itself began. Every sunrise now carries your name in its light, a quiet reminder that heaven still invests in you. You are living prophecy, walking proof that divine intention cannot be undone. The days ahead will reveal why you were preserved, why others fell away, and why grace refused to release you. Destiny will now speak louder than doubt. Walk forward without fear. Your story has already been endorsed by eternity. The same hand that wrote your beginning will ensure your glorious unfolding. You remember the quiet years, the seasons when nothing made sense, when your prayers echoed back in silence, and your purpose felt like a distant dream. Those were not wasted years. They were sacred years. The world saw absence, but heaven saw preparation. What you called delay, heaven called development. You were not being forgotten. You were being formed. Every chosen one endures hiddenness. It is the holy classroom of destiny. Before any great unveiling, there must be isolation, because intimacy with God cannot be learned in the noise of the crowd. You walked through those silent corridors of waiting because heaven needed to teach you what applause could never impart. You learned to listen to whispers. You learned to endure stillness. You learned to trust without visible signs. That was royal training. It hurt, didn't it? The feeling of being unseen, uncelebrated, perhaps even unloved. You looked at others advancing while you stood still and wondered if God had skipped your name. But the truth is this: your timeline was never supposed to match theirs. What you thought was stagnation was God protecting you from premature exposure. The seed that grows in secret always bears stronger fruit. The hidden years purified your motives. They stripped away every false reason for pursuing purpose. When no one was watching, you discovered what obedience really means. When no one applauded, you learned that your validation must come from the throne, not the crowd. The silence taught you sincerity. The emptiness taught you endurance. The scriptures bear witness to this mystery of divine concealment, as recorded in the book of Psalm chapter 18, verse 11. He made darkness his secret place. His canopy around him was dark waters and thick clouds of the skies. That means even God himself hides in darkness. When he draws you into seasons of obscurity, it's not to punish you, it's to bring you where he dwells. The darkness you feared was actually his shadow covering you. The silence you resented was his way of silencing distractions so that you could hear him clearly. Chosen one, you were never meant to stay hidden forever. The season of obscurity was only the cocoon for your transformation. What felt like burial was actually planting. Every tear watered the soil of your destiny. Every unanswered prayer pressed your roots deeper into faith. You learned strength that cannot be faked, peace that cannot be stolen, and vision that cannot be blurred by circumstance. You began to see that the unseen realm was shaping you for a stage you hadn't yet imagined. While others were chasing visibility, you were cultivating depth. The world rewards appearance. Heaven rewards alignment. You may not have realized it then, but while you were waiting, heaven was whispering your name into rooms you hadn't entered yet. Do you see it now? The delay was never denial. God was not ignoring you. He was introducing you to yourself. The version of you that exists now could not have survived if success had come too soon. You needed the silence to strengthen your voice. You needed the shadows to sharpen your sight. The hidden years gave birth to clarity. You now know who you are, and more importantly, whose you are. You can discern voices, sense deception, and move with wisdom that only comes from time spent unseen. That's why the next chapter of your journey will move faster. You have been thoroughly prepared in stillness, and soon, others will look at you and wonder how you rose so quickly. They will call it sudden favor, but you will know it wasn't sudden. It was sacred. It was years of obedience unseen by human eyes, but honored by divine ones. You have been tempered like steel in the fire of waiting. Now, your emergence will carry authority. The same quiet endurance that kept you hidden will now sustain you in visibility. The one who can survive silence can handle sound. The one who can thrive unseen can be trusted when seen. You are ready. Heaven is about to bring you forward. Before you step out, take a moment to mark this truth. You did not lose time, you were gaining foundation. You were never behind, you were being built for longevity. The hidden years were the womb of greatness. If your spirit bears witness to this truth, seal it in agreement. Type these words below as a prophetic declaration: I'm ready. Write them not as repetition, but as revelation. When you comment those words, it isn't for engagement, it's for alignment. It's your symbolic step out of hiddenness. It's heaven's way of recording your readiness. The silence has served its purpose. Now, it's your time to rise. When you write "I'm ready," you're not just typing words, you're declaring to heaven that the preparation is complete. The lessons are learned, and your spirit stands poised for divine release. Your comment becomes covenant, an earthly action with heavenly echo. Every letter whispers faith, signaling to the unseen realm that you have embraced your calling and are stepping boldly into your royal assignment. There comes a moment when the dormant within you begins to stir, when the embers of what once seemed extinguished begin to glow again. You feel it deep inside, a holy restlessness, a divine discomfort that won't let you settle anymore. That is the awakening flame, the signal that heaven has decided it's time to reignite what was always meant to burn. For too long, you have carried silent embers under layers of disappointment and delay. Life tried to smother them, the voices of doubt tried to drown them, and the weariness of waiting tried to bury them. Yet the fire of calling does not die. It waits, like a coal beneath ashes. It breathes patiently, waiting for the divine wind to blow again. And now, that wind has come. You may not realize it yet, but what you are sensing is not merely emotion, it's ignition. Heaven is breathing upon your spirit, reminding you of promises you thought were forgotten. The dreams that once pulsed with passion are being resurrected. The visions you once dismissed as impossible are stirring again, whispering that nothing truly called by God can stay dead. The fire you feel is not random inspiration, it's divine inheritance. The same fire that descended upon prophets, the same spark that fueled apostles. burns quietly in you now. This fire does not consume you to destroy, it consumes you to define. It burns away fear, hesitation, and the residue of old seasons. You are being purified, not punished. The heat is proof of heaven's hand at work. There were moments you thought you had lost your way, that your zeal had faded beyond recovery. But you cannot lose what heaven planted. You can only forget its location. And today, the Spirit is leading you back to it, the place within where passion meets purpose. You are remembering your power. You are remembering your name. The sacred text bears witness to this eternal truth. According to the writings found in the book of 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 6, fan into flame the gift of God which is in you. That is the invitation of heaven to fan the flame. The fire may have dimmed, but it was never gone. It only waited for your agreement, for your willingness to believe again. The Spirit's breath cannot force the blaze, it partners with your decision to rise. You must choose to feed the fire and speak faith again, and move again, dream again. You may think you are starting over, but in truth, you are continuing what heaven never stopped. This awakening is not new, it is ancient. You are stepping back into alignment with the original blueprint written for you before the world began. The flame is not foreign, it feels familiar because it has always been a part of your design. When the flame awakens, it disrupts comfort. The same places that once felt like home may now feel too small. The conversations that once satisfied you now seem shallow. This is not pride, it is purpose outgrowing limitation. The awakened cannot pretend to sleep. Once the fire is lit, it demands expansion. You will notice divine restlessness rising within you, a yearning for impact that logic cannot explain. It is the Spirit prompting you toward assignment. Do not resist it. The world needs what only your flame can provide. There are lives waiting for the warmth of your obedience, souls destined to find light through your courage to burn brightly. Let the awakening be complete. Let the fire find its full strength in you. Do not fear its heat, fear only the numbness that comes from living without it. Passion birthed by heaven will never burn you. It will build you. It will make your steps bold, your words alive, and your heart unshakable. Remember, the flame does not burn for your fame, it burns for His glory. Your rising is not self-exaltation, it's divine manifestation. The more you burn, the more others will see the light of the one who kindled you. You are a living torch in the hands of the Eternal. So breathe deeply. Feel the warmth returning when the same power that once parted seas, that once raised the dead, that once set hearts ablaze in upper rooms, now dwells in you. It is not waiting for perfect conditions, it is waiting for your permission. This is the moment heaven and earth converge again through you. The awakening flame has begun to roar, and as it grows, so does your authority. You will move in clarity, speak with conviction, and live with holy fire that cannot be contained. The fire within you is no longer a whisper, it's a declaration. Every spark now carries purpose. Every breath ignites direction, and every step releases divine warmth into a cold world. Let this flame guide you through unfamiliar paths. It will not fail you. What began as a whisper of calling now roars as destiny fulfilled. Your inner fire becomes heaven's visible light. Power is never given without purpose. The moment the fire awakens, heaven begins to place a crown upon your spirit. Yet this crown is not an ornament, it is a responsibility. The kingdom you represent is not made of gold and walls, but of love and truth. To wear the crown means to carry weight, to walk in grace even when misunderstood, and to serve when it would be easier to rule. The crown of responsibility is heavy not because it is cruel, but because it is sacred. It reminds you that true authority is not about being above others, but being accountable for them. A true king is not recognized by how many serve him, but by how faithfully he serves the people entrusted to him. You, chosen one, are now entering that realm. You are not called to escape the world, you are called to uplift it. Every challenge you faced before this moment was not just preparation for blessing. It was preparation for burden. To lead with light means to feel the pain of others. To love even those who do not understand your heart. You are called to carry peace into chaos, to speak calm where fear reigns, to stand tall where others bow to pressure. And yet, this responsibility is not meant to break you, it is meant to refine you. Heaven entrusts weight only to those whose hearts can carry it with humility. When the crown rests upon your head, it does not say you have arrived, it says you are now accountable for more. The scriptures affirm this truth through the words written in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 12, verse 48. To whom much is given, much will be required. Those words are not a warning, they are an invitation. They mean that heaven trusts you with influence, that the light you carry will reach farther than you can see. They mean that your words will shape others. Your compassion will heal, and your generosity will build bridges between heaven and earth. Now that your crown rests upon you, heaven begins to move through your actions. Your kindness becomes kingdom currency. Your love becomes legislation. Your generosity becomes divine partnership. And in this sacred exchange, you learn that giving is not losing, it is multiplying. In this moment, I want to speak softly, as one who stands beside you, not above you. If these words, this flow of heaven's message, has kindled something in you, if it has reminded you of your worth, your identity, your divine power, then you are already part of this movement of light. You are a flame among flames, and together we are forming a constellation of hope in a dark world. This space, these words, these messages, they exist because of hearts that choose to give, not by demand, but by desire. Think of it like tending a fire. Each message is a spark, but the fire only continues when someone adds wood, when someone believes enough to help the warmth spread. If your heart feels led, take a moment to gently add a piece of wood to this fire by clicking like, by sharing this message, or by subscribing. These simple gestures are how the flame breathes. Each one carries the warmth farther, touching souls you may never meet but whose nights you will quietly brighten. And if you ever feel moved beyond that, you may water this growing garden by giving freely, cheerfully, in any measure you choose. Think of your gift not as payment, but as rain, soft, nourishing, unseen yet vital. It sustains the roots that keep this message alive, helping light reach those still searching through the fog. Like the flame, your support, whether through a share, a subscription, or a quiet donation, is never demanded, only welcomed. Every act of kindness becomes another star added to this constellation of chosen ones. When you subscribe, you join a circle of firekeepers' souls who guard the light so it never fades. When you share, you extend the warmth to corners still cold with doubt. And when you give, even the smallest ember of generosity becomes divine breath, ensuring the message burns bright for another heart ready to awaken. So as you continue walking in royal power, remember, giving is not about amount, it's about alignment. Whether it's your time, your words, or your kindness, everything you release in love returns multiplied in peace. You are not losing when you give, you are proving you are royal enough to hold nothing back. Let your generosity flow the way rivers meet the sea naturally. Without striving, if you feel led to support, do so with joy. If you cannot, then simply pray that the light keeps spreading. Every gesture matters. Every hand lifted toward good work is a royal act. And as you continue walking in royal power, know this: heaven never forgets those who sustain its message. The crown you carry will shine brighter every time you choose to give, not because you must, but because you may. There is a moment when the air feels different, when something unseen rests upon your shoulders. Heavy but holy. You sense it even before you understand it. The atmosphere around you begins to shift. The way people look at you changes. What once drained you now deepens you. That is the weight of the anointing. It is invisible to the world but undeniable to your spirit. You may not see the oil, but you feel its evidence: the sudden peace amid pressure, the quiet wisdom in confusion, the courage that appears where fear once lived. Heaven's oil does not announce itself with thunder. It flows gently, soaking into the fibers of your soul until everything ordinary within you begins to shimmer with divine purpose. Anointing is not glamour, it is gravity. It pulls you deeper into purpose, closer to obedience, further from the noise. It changes your posture without changing your personality. You begin to walk differently, not with arrogance, but with assurance. You begin to speak differently, not louder, but clearer. Every word becomes weighty because heaven breathes through it. Yet, the anointing also separates. The oil that empowers you will also expose you. It will reveal who truly walks with you and who only admired your potential. When the fragrance of heaven begins to rest upon your life, those not meant for your next chapter may quietly step away. Do not grieve the pruning. Oil attracts destiny but repels distraction. Many wish for anointing, but few understand its price. To carry heaven's oil means to surrender your timeline, your comfort, and sometimes your crowd. The anointing is not a reward, it is a responsibility. It does not make life easier. It makes your purpose unavoidable. It is the mark of divine ownership, the seal that says, "This one belongs to me." The ancient text affirms this truth, as revealed in the book of Psalm chapter 23, verse 5. "You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows." Overflow always follows obedience. When God anoints you, it is not just for your sake, it is for the sake of those who will drink from your overflow. The oil is meant to heal others through your presence, to bless through your words, to release peace through your step. You are not anointed for performance. You are anointed for purpose. There will be days when you question if you can carry it. The weight may feel too great, the path too narrow, the warfare too constant. But remember, the same hand that poured the oil will sustain you under it. Heaven never gives a burden without strength to bear it. You are not walking alone, you are walking under a covenant. Every chosen one learns that the anointing costs isolation, but it also carries intimacy. The moments you feel most alone are often the moments heaven whispers loudest. You are not forgotten in those times, you are being fine-tuned. Oil flows best in quiet places, and it's in silence that God presses you. And from that pressing, pure fragrance arises. Do not resist it. Let the oil settle. Let it soak into the hidden cracks of your soul until even your weaknesses begin to shine with grace. The anointing will teach you, comfort you, and lead you when logic fails. It will make your very presence a sanctuary where others find peace without knowing why. And now, as you stand under this unseen outpouring, know that heaven's recognition is upon you. You do not need a stage or a title. Your obedience is the altar, and your life is the testimony. If you can feel this truth resonate deep within, if something inside you confirms that the oil is resting upon you even now, mark this moment in agreement. Let heaven hear your acknowledgement. type this number as a prophetic sign that you recognize and receive your divine anointing, so 444. That number speaks of alignment of heaven, earth, and your purpose standing as one. When you comment it, you're not performing a ritual. You're declaring that your spirit and God's will are now in rhythm. You are anointed, aligned, and advancing. When you write 444, it isn't just a number, it is a spiritual echo. Each digit represents balance, the Creator, creation, and your calling, standing in complete harmony. It is heaven's code for stability, for firm foundations, for divine order returning to your life. By commenting 444, you are not simply responding, you are testifying. You are declaring that the oil has found its resting place upon you, that you accept the weight with willingness, and that you choose alignment over ambition. It is your way of saying, I am ready to walk in order, not chaos, in calling, not confusion. Let this number become your reminder that what is upon you cannot be taken away. Every time your eyes see 444, remember the covenant, God's hand on your head, His Spirit within you, His plan unfolding around you. You are not just walking, you are being carried in rhythm with heaven itself. Every calling that carries light must confront the shadow. Every destiny marked by heaven attracts the attention of hell. The moment you begin to walk in power, resistance rises to meet you. It is not coincidence, it is confirmation. The warfare over your destiny is proof that you are no longer standing still. You have felt it in unseen ways, the heaviness before breakthroughs, the sudden conflict after moments of peace, the whispers of doubt just when faith begins to grow. The enemy does not waste energy on the complacent. He wars only with the chosen, because chosen ones carry something he fears: transformation. This battle is not fought with swords or fists. It takes place in thoughts, in moments of temptation, in silent wars of endurance. It begins when your heart declares, I will not quit. Every time you refuse to retreat, the kingdom of darkness loses ground. You are not fighting for victory, you are fighting from victories. Heaven has already declared the outcome. Still, the warfare feels personal. It touches the places you thought were secure, stirs up memories you thought were healed, and tries to make you question the words God spoke over you. That is because the enemy cannot destroy you, so he tries to distract you. If he can't take your anointing, he will try to drain your focus. In those moments, do not mistake the battle for abandonment. Conflict is not absence of God, it is evidence of His investment. The greater your purpose, the stronger the resistance. What rises against you is not greater than what lives within you. Every attack becomes another opportunity for proof that you are built from divine material. When the nights feel longest, remember this pressure reveals power. Diamonds are born from what others break under. You are not fragile, you are fortified. The struggle that surrounds you is the final test before visibility. Every storm around you is heaven preparing a clearing above you. The scriptures confirm this truth, as written in the book of Isaiah, chapter 54, verse 17. No weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue which rises against you in judgment you shall condemn. Those words are not poetry, they are law in the Spirit. Weapons may form, but they will not function. Tongues may rise, but they will not rule. The decree stands: what is anointed cannot be annulled. Your destiny is not fragile, it is fireproof. The warfare you face is not meant to destroy you, it is meant to reveal the warrior within you. God allows confrontation not to crush you, but to crown you. The resistance teaches strategy, builds endurance, and awakens discernment. Every battle you survive becomes training for the next victory. You are learning how to pray with precision, how to speak with authority, how to stand even when silence answers your cry. You are discovering that peace is not the absence of war, it is the presence of God in the middle of it. And in that discovery, your power grows. The unseen realm watches when you stand firm. Angels move in formation when your faith refuses to bend. Your courage sends tremors through darkness because it declares that the light cannot be extinguished. You are not just surviving attacks, you are rewriting the atmosphere around you. Remember, chosen one warfare is not punishment, it is promotion in disguise. Heaven trusts only trained hands to carry royal power. Every trial is a test of stewardship, and you have passed more tests than you realize. You've stood when it would have been easier to surrender. You've prayed when you could have walked away. You've loved when you had every reason to close your heart. And that, right there, is victory. Not the absence of battle, but the refusal to bow to it. So now, when the enemy sends confusion, answer with clarity, and when he sends fear, respond with faith. When he tries to pull you back into old patterns, remember that you outgrew them. Every lie he speaks only confirms what truth he's trying to hide. You are no longer who you were before the war began. You've gained armor that cannot be seen but can be felt by every force that dares approach. You walk with the calm of one who knows their authority. You move with the confidence of one who has seen darkness break before their light. Stand firm, warrior of light. The battle is real, but so is your crown. The warfare may surround you, but victory has already sealed you. You are not waiting for triumph, you are walking in it. Every scar you carry now glows with meaning. They are medals of endurance. Proof that divine strength sustained you when logic said you should have fallen. You are living testimony that light always wins. Let this truth steady your heart. Battles end, but warriors remain. When the storm quiets, your spirit will still stand radiant, trained by fire, crowned by faith, and clothed in unshakable peace. There comes a time when God does not simply call you to stand, but to be equipped. After warfare, after wounds, after the stretching and the silence, He begins to dress you differently. The robe of pain is lifted, and in its place, He places armor not visible to the human eye, but felt in every step you take. This is the royal armor, and it is not made of metal, but of spirit. The armor of the chosen is woven from endurance, from faith, from the lessons learned in valleys and shadows. You will not see its shine in the mirror, but heaven sees its reflection every time you choose truth over comfort, love over bitterness, and faith over fear. You may not notice it, but your spirit gleams with a quiet strength that even darkness recognizes. Royal armor does not make you untouchable. It makes you unbreakable. It does not promise an easy road, it promises victory after endurance. Each piece of this divine covering is forged through surrender. Every test you passed, every tear you turned into prayer, every time you rose again when you could have stayed down, all of these moments were smithing your armor in heaven's furnace. The Spirit clothes you, not in human power, but in heavenly resilience. You are covered from within. Truth becomes your belt, it keeps everything else in place. Righteousness becomes your breastplate, it guards your heart from corruption. Peace becomes your shoes, they allow you to walk across chaos without losing your balance. Faith becomes your shield, it catches every arrow that flies unseen. Salvation becomes your helmet, it protects your thoughts from despair. And the word alive, sharp, eternal becomes your sword. You are no longer defenseless. You are fully armed with grace. The ancient writings record this mystery clearly. It is written in the book of Ephesians, chapter 6, verse 11. Put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the schemes of the devil. The phrase "put on" means participation. Heaven provides the armor, but you must choose to wear it daily. It is not placed upon you once, it must be fastened every morning, in your thoughts, your words, your reactions. This armor is spiritual, but it affects everything physical. It gives you the strength to love those who hurt you, the courage to keep walking when you are misunderstood, and the peace to remain calm when chaos surrounds you. You may not feel powerful, but you are protected. The evidence of your armor is not always the absence of pain, it's the presence of purpose even in pain. When others crumble, you remain steady. When others panic, you stay anchored. That is what it means to wear heaven's metal, to be steady while storms rage. Sometimes you will sense the clash of unseen forces around you. You will feel the tension between what your eyes see and what your faith knows. Yet within that unseen battle, the armor will hold. Truth will not fail. Peace will not flee. Faith will not fracture. You are not standing exposed. You are standing encased in the promise of protection. Understand this: the armor does not change who you are. It reveals who you've become. It's proof that the one who once trembled now stands tall. The one who once questioned now declares. The one who once survived now leads. You were never meant to remain a survivor. You were meant to become a defender. Every chosen one who wears this armor becomes a mirror of divine order. Where confusion once ruled, you now bring clarity on. Where fear used to reign, you now release peace. Where doubt whispered, faith now speaks louder. The armor does not just guard, it transforms you into a walking sanctuary. You become the evidence of what protection looks like when heaven clothes a human soul. And though the battle may still rage around you, it cannot touch what is within you. The royal armor is not removed when you rest, it is part of you. Bonded through fire and faith, even in silence, it remains. Even in weariness, it holds. You will walk through the coming days not as one unsure of their strength, but as one aware of their covering. Every word you speak will echo with authority. Every step will carry stability. And every breath will remind the unseen realm that you are fully armed by the King himself. You are ready, not because the war has ceased, but because the warrior has been perfected. The armor you wear is silent but radiant. It does not glitter like gold, yet darkness recognizes its gleam. You carry divine craftsmanship, proof that heaven equips what it calls. Let storms come and winds howl, you will not shatter. Every strike against you only rings with the sound of metal meeting destiny, proof that you are tempered by eternity. Walk forward clothed in unseen brilliance. Your steps resound like victory drums, your presence steadies trembling ground, and your soul gleams as the living armor of God. There comes a point in your journey when you realize that the voice that once guided you in whispers now begins to speak with clarity. Heaven no longer hides its words in riddles. Instead, they resound like a command carried on the wind. You have grown, matured, and endured, and now you are trusted to hear what only royal ears can hear. The voice of the throne does not shout. It moves with authority but also with intimacy. It cuts through confusion and calls your spirit by name. Sometimes it comes as peace, sometimes as conviction, and sometimes as an inner knowing that feels heavier than thought but lighter than breath. It is not imagination, it is instruction. Heaven speaks, and your soul remembers. You begin to notice that the world grows quieter when the King begins to speak. What once seemed urgent fades into the background. Every distraction bows to the gravity of divine speech. His voice carries weight, it creates reality. It is the same voice that spoke galaxies into existence, and now it speaks into you. The divine words are not given to impress but to transform. When God speaks, He doesn't describe the world, He defines it. He declares what must become. The moment His voice enters your life, the old narrative dissolves. You stop repeating your pain and start proclaiming your prophecy. Scripture affirms this truth clearly. It is written in the book of Job, chapter 22, verse 28. You will also decree a thing, and it will be established for you, and light will shine on your ways. The King's voice is not only to be heard, it is to be echoed. You are called to decree what heaven declares. When you speak under divine authority, your words cease to be empty sounds. They become creative instruments. You are not a mere listener. You are a legislator in the Spirit. What you speak in alignment with His will reshapes realities. This is why your voice matters. Every time you choose to speak hope instead of fear, truth instead of gossip, faith instead of complaint, heaven responds. Angels move according to alignment. Your mouth becomes the pen that continues heaven's script upon the earth. The atmosphere listens to the language of the chosen. You must learn to trust the sound of heaven within you. The same voice that guided Moses through deserts, that whispered to Elijah in the cave, that spoke to Mary in stillness, now dwells in you. The difference is not in volume, it's in recognition. Once you know His tone, no imitation can deceive you. Many people pray to hear God's voice, but few prepare to obey it. Obedience sharpens hearing. Every yes you give clears static from the signal. The more you obey, the louder He sounds, not because He shouts more, but because you've tuned your heart to the right frequency. You are now stepping into that frequency. Heaven is training your tongue to match its tone. There will come moments when you feel a sentence rise in your spirit. Don't silence it. Speak it in faith. Heaven partners with bold voices. When you decree healing, angels deliver it. When you declare peace, chaos loses power. The authority in your words is not borrowed, it is inherited. You carry the breath of God, the same breath that formed creation. When you speak under His leading, your declarations become divine decrees. From this day forward, be mindful of what you release into the air. The throne listens to your vocabulary. Speak as a royal ambassador, not a captive of emotion. When your words align with heaven's heartbeat, nothing can resist their power. And now, if your heart feels that divine resonance, if you can sense the stirring of that holy echo within, declare your alignment in the comments below with these two words. Speak, Lord. When you write "Speak, Lord," you are not demanding, you are surrendering. You are opening the inner door of your spirit and inviting heaven's voice to dwell there. It means, I will listen, I will respond, I will carry what I hear into the world. This comment is not a phrase, it is permission for God to use your voice as His instrument. When you write "Speak, Lord," heaven leans in. Those two words open your atmosphere. They tell the divine, I am listening with an undivided heart. They silence the noise of the world and draw the King's whisper closer to your spirit. It is not a request for entertainment, it is an act of reverence. You are saying, I no longer want to talk over you. I want to walk with you. Each letter becomes a key, unlocking clarity where confusion once ruled, calling light into every corner of your being. Every time your eyes see those words again, speak, Lord, remember they are a covenant between your soul and His presence. You are giving the Creator full permission to teach, to guide, to shape. From this day on, your voice will not merely echo prayers, it will echo heaven itself. Obedience is the final test of loyalty. It is not measured in how loudly you worship, but in how quietly you surrender. Every chosen one must walk through a moment where obedience feels heavier than fear, where the voice of God asks something that challenges reason, pride, or comfort, and it is there between your will and His that true royalty is proven. The test of obedience is never about control, it's about trust. God already knows your capacity, He's testing your commitment. He asks not to take from you, but to release through you. Sometimes the command comes softly. Forgive them. Sometimes it shakes the foundations, let go. Other times it arrives as a whisper that feels impossible. Step out now. Every time you say yes, heaven writes your name in deeper ink upon destiny's pages. To obey means to bow willingly, not fearfully. The power of obedience is that it transforms command into communion. When you obey, you are not losing control, you are gaining alignment. The moment you surrender your own map, you begin to walk on holy ground where your steps are ordered and your outcomes are secure. Scripture reveals this truth through the story written in the first book of Samuel. Chapter 15, verse 22. To obey is better than sacrifice, and to heed is better than the fat of rams. These words were spoken to remind us that obedience is not performance. It is relationship. God values your listening more than your loudness, your surrender more than your success. He does not need your offerings of things. He longs for the offering of your will. And yet, obedience is not easy. It requires heart more than strength, humility more than strategy. Sometimes it means walking away from what looks perfect to step into what is promised. Sometimes it means standing still when logic screams move. Sometimes it means giving when you feel you have little left. But every act of obedience opens a door that effort never could. Chosen one. Obedience is the key that turns unseen locks. It is the seed planted in invisible soil that grows into tangible blessing. When you obey in silence, heaven speaks for you in places your voice will never reach. Your obedience becomes your advocate. You see, every message, every word that flows through this space exists for one purpose: to awaken your obedience to divine truth. These messages are like lanterns in a long night, carried by many hands so that no one walks in darkness alone. Each light that shines here is made possible by those who choose to keep the flame alive. If these words have ever strengthened you, or if they have carried peace into your heart, I gently invite you to add your light to this fire by liking, by sharing, by subscribing. These acts are not duties, they are ripples. Each one sends light a little further, reaching souls you may never meet but whose hope will flicker alive because of you. And if your heart ever feels moved beyond that, you can water this growing field of light through giving freely, cheerfully, without pressure. Think of your support not as donation, but as rainfall. Every drop nourishes a new soul ready to bloom. Every gesture, no matter how small, becomes a lifeline of warmth and wisdom that travels far beyond your sight. When you subscribe, you are not joining a platform, you are stepping into a circle of faith bearers. When you share, you become the bridge for another weary heart to cross into hope. When you give, you are planting trees whose shade will shelter those who come after you. None of this is asked from obligation, but offered as opportunity. You are never required, only invited. Because in the kingdom, giving is not a transaction, it's transformation. It turns receivers into rivers. It reminds us that what we hold in love multiplies. Your obedience to that still, gentle nudge, whether to share, to support, or to simply keep showing up, keeps this message alive for the next soul who needs it. So, if this word has found its way into your heart, if it has spoken to you in your silent battle, then carry the flame forward. Like the message if it resonates. Share it to send light farther. Subscribe to stay connected to this current of grace. And should you ever feel stirred to give, do it the way sunrise touches the world, not forced, not loud, but naturally. Let your generosity flow like light, soft, sincere, unstoppable. Because when one chosen heart gives, another begins to glow. And together, we form the living constellation of obedience, illuminating the earth with willing hearts, not pressured hands. Every gesture of obedience becomes a spark in eternity's sky. Your yes, your gift, your faith, they weave light into the world's darkness, forming trails that guide other souls home to hope. And as you keep walking, heaven keeps multiplying your steps. What you release in quiet faith returns in radiant glory, turning your small acts into everlasting echoes of divine beauty. There are seasons when the light feels dim, when you find yourself walking among shadows that whisper of fear, doubt, and distraction. Yet even in those places, your royal assignment does not change. You are called to rule, not retreat. The measure of true kingship is not how one walks in sunshine, but how one moves with grace through grayness. You have already learned to fight, to stand, to carry armor. Now you must learn to walk among shadows without losing your glow. The darkness around you does not mean defeat. It is the stage upon which your light performs its greatest work. The chosen do not avoid the valley, they illuminate it. These shadows take many forms. They can appear as disappointment, as betrayal, as confusion, or as the quiet ache of unanswered prayers. You have felt them wrap around your spirit before, but you have also seen them fade when you remember who walks beside you. Light is not fragile, it only needs a willing vessel. To walk among shadows means to rule over them with discernment and love. You are not called to hate the dark, you are called to understand it, to see through it. For every darkness carries a hidden truth, a mirror of what still needs healing within you. The shadows are not your enemy, they are your classroom. Discernment grows there, in the dim corridors of waiting and wondering. You begin to sense that not every voice deserves your attention, not every opportunity is divine, and not every open door is safe to enter. The darkness becomes a filter. It teaches you to listen for the tone of heaven before taking a step. It is easy to shine when the path is clear, but royal discernment is proven when the path disappears. You must learn to walk by light that others cannot see, the inner flame of the Spirit, small but steady, guiding you when every other lamp goes out. This truth is sealed within the holy writings. It is found in the book of Psalm, chapter 23, verse 4. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. That verse is not poetic comfort, it is divine strategy. It means that shadows are not destinations, they are passages. You are walking through them, not into them. Fear is the only chain that can turn a valley into a prison. The presence of God transforms it into a pathway. Chosen one, you must remember this: shadows exist only where light is present. If there is darkness around you, it is because the light within you is strong enough to cast one. That means you have not been abandoned. You have been appointed. The shadows appear not to consume you, but to confirm that you are glowing. There will be times when your discernment feels like a burden, when seeing too much makes you wish to unsee. But remember, wisdom is the weight of the crown. To know what others overlook, to feel what others ignore, this is not punishment, but privilege. It is how the King trusts you with greater responsibility. And as you walk through the gray, you begin to notice something beautiful: the shadows obey you. They move aside when you walk in confidence. They lose power when you speak peace. You learn that you can carry serenity into storms. and storms must submit. You will encounter people who live in those shadows, unaware of light. Do not judge them, extend grace. Let your calm presence become their lantern. Sometimes the most powerful sermon is not spoken, it is lived quietly through steadfast faith. In these valleys, your heart becomes soft while your spirit grows strong. You learn compassion without compromise, strength without arrogance, and peace without passivity. The shadows polish you into reflection, so that when light hits, it shines twice as bright. Remember this: the same hand that allows shadows to fall is the one guiding your steps through them. Nothing in the valley surprises him. The shadows may shift, but his direction never changes. Keep walking. Each step is a declaration that darkness cannot define you. When the path feels uncertain, place your trust not in what you see, but in what you know. The throne has already decreed your safe passage. You walk in royal authority even when surrounded by obscurity. So keep your eyes steady, your faith firm, and your heart tender. The shadows are not there to frighten you, they are there to frame your light. And when you emerge on the other side, and you'll realize that even the darkness bowed to the King within you. Every valley you walk becomes sacred once light has passed through it. What once seemed like loss turns to wisdom, and every shadow becomes proof that grace has never left you. Now you walk not to escape darkness, but to transform it. Wherever your feet touch, hope takes root, and the night itself begins to glow with quiet reverence. There is a moment when heaven changes your garments. The dust of battle fades, the weight of old seasons falls from your shoulders, and something new begins to settle upon you. It is not just a change of appearance, it is a change of identity. The old names no longer fit, and the memories that once defined you lose their hold. This is the royal exchange, the moment when shame is traded for glory and burden for beauty. You have walked through fire and through silence, through rejection and through revelation. Each trial stripped away what was temporary until only truth remained. And now heaven stands before you, holding garments not made by human hands. Robes woven from purpose, stitched with grace, and crowned with favor. You are not being dressed for show. You are being clothed for significance. Every thread of this new robe tells a story of victory. The stains of your past have been washed not with effort, but with mercy. Where heaviness once lived, peace now breathes. What once felt like failure now becomes foundation. The divine tailor wastes nothing, not even your pain. He reuses every torn fabric to strengthen what he now places upon you. As declared in the book of Isaiah, chapter 61, verse 10, He has clothed me with garments of salvation and arrayed me in a robe of righteousness. This is not symbolism, it is spiritual reality. When God clothes you, He covers not only your history but your hesitation. You no longer need to prove yourself. The robe itself speaks of who you are. Heaven recognizes its own handiwork upon you, and even darkness must respect what it sees. When this robe rests upon you, others may notice something different. Some will not understand the peace you carry or the glow that follows you. Do not shrink to make others comfortable. The royal robe was not designed to blend in, it was meant to stand out. Its radiance is not arrogance, it is assignment. You were always meant to be a visible sign of invisible grace. The royal exchange is not just about being clothed, it's about being renamed. Heaven no longer calls you by your wounds, it calls you by your worth. You are no longer the broken but the beloved, no longer the outcast, but the chosen. Every label the world stitched onto you is being replaced by a divine inscription crowned with purpose. Chosen one. This exchange is sacred. You cannot wear the new while clinging to the old. Let the garments of guilt fall freely. Release the cloak of comparison. The robe of righteousness fits best on shoulders unburdened by regret. When you let go, heaven dresses you in destiny. The beauty of this exchange is that you do not have to earn it. You only have to receive it. Grace is not a prize for the perfect. It is a covering for the willing. The moment you say yes to being clothed, everything begins to align. The way you think, speak, and see yourself transforms. You walk differently because you finally understand your royalty. And the robe does more than protect, it empowers. It becomes a mantle of authority that carries the fragrance of heaven. When you enter a room, peace follows. When you speak, clarity flows. When you pray, barriers break. You are no longer a beggar for blessings, you are a distributor of them. If this message stirs your spirit, if you can feel the weight of new garments resting upon your soul, acknowledge this divine moment. Mark it with a prophetic number that seals your acceptance of the exchange. Type this number in the comments below, 5. That number speaks of grace multiplied, of transition completed, of divine renewal in motion. It symbolizes transformation, the moment when old doors close and new realms open. When you type 555, you are not typing digits, you are declaring, I accept my new robe. I walk in my renewed name. I wear what heaven has chosen for me. It is your visible sign of invisible change. When you write 505, heaven records your agreement. It is not coincidence that this number represents transition and grace. 5 is the number of divine favor, tripled. It becomes the symphony of complete renewal, grace upon grace upon grace. By commenting 555, you are saying, I received the exchange. You are stepping out of your old garments of striving and into robes of rest. You're declaring that your story is no longer written by pain, but by promise. Each digit echoes the sound of doors opening, new beginnings unfolding where endings once hurt. Let this number remain your reminder. Transformation is not a moment, it is a movement. Every time you see 555, remember that heaven has clothed you in new identity, that mercy walks beside you, and that your crown shines brighter than your scars. You are robed, renewed, and recognized by God Himself. Every thread of your new garment carries heaven's fingerprint. You no longer walk as one hoping to be seen, you walk as one already chosen. The exchange is finished. Your radiance has begun. There is a table that has always been waiting for you, not a table of mere wood and gold, but one carved from eternity, set in a realm where peace and purpose meet. It is the King's table, and your name has been engraved upon it since before time began. For years you stood outside its light, believing it was for others. You watched as others were invited, their laughter echoing like reminders of your unworthiness. But heaven was never excluding you, it was preparing you. The King never sends for the unready. When your spirit has been purified by the wilderness and refined through obedience, you hear the summons. It doesn't sound like thunder, it feels like home. The table that once seemed distant now stands before you, shimmering with invitation. Every seat holds a story, every cup brims with meaning. This is not a feast for the proud, it is a gathering for the chosen. As you approach, humility becomes your robe. You realize that the table was never about food, it was about fellowship. It was about sitting in the presence of the one who called you. It was about learning that in the kingdom, you do not earn your seat, you inherit it. The King smiles not because you are perfect, but because you finally came. It is written in the book of Psalm chapter 23, verse 5. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. This verse is not a promise of luxury, it is a prophecy of placement. God sets your table where others expected your defeat. He arranges your abundance in the very field where your pain once grew. The presence of your enemies is not to shame you, it is to witness your restoration. The king's table is where vindication and grace dine together. Here you no longer eat from anxiety, but from assurance. You no longer drink from lack, but from overflow. Every sip, every bite becomes a reminder that you survived what was meant to starve you. The food of the king is not bread and wine, it is peace, wisdom, and purpose. It fills the soul, not just the stomach. Seated here, you learn a new rhythm of rest. The world runs, but you remain still. You realize that royalty does not rush, it recognizes timing. The table is a place of alignment. Everything on it has meaning. Every dish represents a lesson, every cup holds a story. Some tastes are sweet, others bitter, but all are necessary. The sweetness teaches gratitude, and the bitterness teaches grace. You will notice that at this table, the conversation changes. It is no longer about survival, it is about strategy. The king begins to reveal plans for territories you have not yet seen. He speaks of assignments that extend beyond your comfort, and as you listen, courage begins to rise. You understand now why the wilderness was essential. It built your appetite for the things of heaven. The more you sit, the more you realize this table is eternal. It does not fade when you leave. It lives within you. Everywhere you go, you carry its fragrance, the peace of having dined with divinity. You become the embodiment of the feast, offering kindness as bread and wisdom as wine. People will feel nourished just by being near your presence, though they may not understand why. At this table, pride loses its appetite. Comparison starves. Only gratitude thrives. You learn that the king's favor is not competitive, it's communal. The same hand that fills your cup also pours for others. You do not need to guard your portion, for there is enough for all. The feast of heaven multiplies through sharing. And as you linger there, time seems to still. You see your past self hungry, restless, doubting, and you realize how far grace has brought you. The seat you occupy now was always meant for you. It only waited until you believed you belonged. When you finally rise from the table, you do not leave it behind, you carry it with you. Every act of mercy becomes an extension of its bounty. Every word of truth becomes a morsel from its feast. You become a living invitation for others still wandering in hunger, proof that the king's table is never too full for one more. You walk away full, not only of peace but of purpose. The king's table lingers within you, whispering that abundance is not having more, it is knowing you already have enough. Every conversation now feels sacred. Every act of kindness another serving from that divine feast. You carry heaven's hospitality, feeding hope to hearts that forgot their seat. And when night falls again, you will not fear the empty places, for within your spirit the table still stands set, glowing, waiting for your quiet communion. Even in silence, that sacred invitation remains. You are never far from the King's presence. Every breath is communion. Every heartbeat a reminder that you belong forever at His table. There is a moment when your words begin to carry the fragrance of heaven. The same mouth that once spoke survival now speaks creation. You find yourself declaring things that seem impossible, and yet they begin to unfold. It is not imagination. It is inheritance. You have entered the realm of decrees and dimensions where your alignment with heaven turns speech into manifestation. This is not the language of wishful thinking. It is the dialect of dominion. The royal tongue does not beg, it builds. It does not plead, it proclaims. Every syllable spoken in faith becomes architecture in the unseen realm, forming bridges between what is promised and what is present. You are not simply speaking, you are shaping. When you were a child in faith, your prayers were petitions. But now, as one seated with authority, they become pronouncements. You no longer ask God to move mountains. You command them to obey His will through your words. That is not arrogance, it is alignment. Heaven entrusts decrees only to those who have surrendered completely. The ancient writings confirm this mystery. It is revealed in the book of Proverbs, chapter 18, verse 21. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruit. The tongue is both seed and sword. It plants what it believes and cuts what resists. When your spirit is in harmony with heaven, your words carry the same creative energy that once called light from darkness. You are speaking from the blueprint of divine thought, and creation must respond. This is why your vocabulary matters. Every sentence you release is either a window for light or a doorway for shadows. Heaven watches not only your faith but your phrasing. You can speak yourself into fear or into freedom. The language of the chosen is never careless. It is consecrated. You must now learn the art of decree. A decree is not a request, it is an echo of divine will. You do not invent truth, you invoke it. When you decree peace, heaven amplifies it. When you decree healing, angels deliver it. When you decree restoration, creation realigns to make it visible. The realm of decrees is not magic, it is maturity. But with this power comes precision. Every decree must be rooted in love. Words spoken without compassion may sound right but ring hollow. The king does not honor volume. He honors vibration, the frequency of purity. Your decrees must sound like his heart, not your pride. The dimensions of speech extend far beyond the visible. Each word leaves an imprint in eternity. That is why silence is sacred. It recharges the authority of your voice. Do not speak in haste. Learn to pause until you can hear heaven's tone. Then, when you release the word, it will carry the sound of certainty. There will be days when you doubt your own voice. The enemy will whisper, "Who are you to speak with authority?" But remember, you are not speaking as yourself. You are speaking as a vessel. The throne lends you its echo. Your decree carries divine signature because it was birthed in obedience, not ambition. Chosen one, the dimensions of your influence are expanding. What you say in secret begins to ripple through nations. The prayers you whisper at midnight become movements by morning. You may never see their full effect, but heaven measures the distance of every declaration. The words you release do not vanish, they take form. They become unseen messengers, building realities ahead of your arrival. That is why the mature learn to guard their tongues. The same mouth that blesses cannot curse without consequence. To rule in the spirit, you must be disciplined in speech. You are now entrusted with a weapon and a wonder. Your words can calm storms or cause them. Speak with intention. When you feel anger, let grace speak first. When fear tries to silence you, let faith be your voice. Every decree should end in peace, not pride. In this realm, even silence is authority. Sometimes the greatest decree is a quiet "let it be." For in those 3 words, "Wandio," you mirror the Maker. You align your human breath with the eternal wind. And when you do, everything around you begins to move in rhythm with divine order. You have entered a new dimension, not a place of noise, but of resonance. You are no longer echoing pain. You are amplifying purpose. From this day forward, may every word you speak carry weight, every silence hold wisdom, and every decree build worlds that reflect the glory of the one who speaks through you. Your tongue now bears the seal of heaven. Every phrase you form releases fragrance into the air, some healing, some awakening, but all carrying the pulse of divine intention flowing through you. So speak gently, chosen one. Let your words be rivers, carving valleys of peace and fields of renewal wherever they travel, until every sound you release becomes a song of creation. When one flame rises, the darkness trembles. But when many flames rise together, the night itself begins to disappear. This is the moment of gathering the rise of the torchbearers. You were never meant to walk alone with your light hidden beneath weariness. There are others just like you, scattered across the earth, carrying their own sparks of divine fire. And now, by heaven's design, those flames are finding one another. The Spirit has begun to draw the chosen together, not by coincidence, but by calling. It happens quietly, a word shared at the right time, a message that ignites recognition in the heart, a voice that feels like home. One by one, the torches meet, and the collective glow grows stronger. You realize that this was never just about your personal victory, it was about creating a constellation of light that could not be ignored. The scripture declares this mystery beautifully in the first letter of Peter, chapter 2, verse 9. You are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's special possession, that you may declare the praises of Him who called you out of darkness into His wonderful light. This is your generation, the torchbearers of truth, the keepers of fire. You have been called not merely to shine, but to kindle others. When your flame touches another's wick, your light does not lessen, it multiplies. That is the secret of heaven's arithmetic. One flame, when shared, becomes 1,000. The rise of the torchbearers is not loud, it's luminous. It's found in quiet kindness, in compassion that costs something, in courage that keeps believing even when the world stops clapping. You begin to see that every act of light, no matter how small, joins a divine network across the earth. And this light must keep moving. It must travel from heart to heart, from home to home, until no corner remains untouched. Every time you share what heaven gives you, you extend the fire's reach. So if these words have awakened something within you, let your spark meet others by liking, by sharing, by subscribing, not out of obligation but out of overflow. Think of it as passing a torch down a mountain path. Your gesture may seem simple, but its glow may guide someone through a night you'll never see. Every like is a flicker in the darkness. Every share is a torch lifted higher. Every subscription is a decision to walk with the fire instead of watching it burn from afar. And if your spirit ever feels stirred beyond that, if you sense the beauty of helping the light grow even further, you may offer a small ember of your own, a gift, a donation, not as payment, but as partnership. Giving here is not commerce, it's communion. It's how the flame keeps breathing, how the warmth keeps spreading through the cold corners of the world. Think of your support as wind upon a bonfire. The breeze does not own the flame, but it gives it strength. Every gesture you make, every word, and every prayer, every act of kindness feeds this divine fire that connects us all. And remember, no act of light is too small. When you comment, you speak into the glow. When you share, you carry the torch farther. When you give, you whisper to the flame, keep burning. The world may not notice, but heaven always does. You are part of something holy and alive, a movement of illumination. This isn't just a message. It's a mosaic of souls lighting each other's way home. Each flame matters. Yours matters. So, let your engagement be your offering, your generosity be your echo, your light be your legacy. Together, the torchbearers rise not with noise, but with radiance. The world will not know what happened at first. They will only see the glow and feel the warmth. And when others ask where it began, tell them it began with a word, a flame, and a willing heart that chose to pass it on. Like if this flame has touched you, share it to spread the warmth. Subscribe to walk among the torchbearers. Give if your spirit feels led like a wind fanning fire, never forced, always free. Because every flicker of kindness is fuel for the next awakening, and together, we become the dawn that darkness can no longer silence. When you lift your light, you remind the world that darkness never truly wins. Even the smallest flame defies the night. Hope is not loud, it glows, steady and undefeated. Each time you give, Mobo, you write a quiet hymn across the horizon. You may never hear the echoes, but heaven records every spark, every act of faith that kept another soul warm. And one day, when all the torches unite, the sky itself will blaze with redemption's color, a sunrise made from countless willing hearts that once believed light was worth sharing. That day will come quietly, like dawn spilling over mountains, no trumpet, no announcement, just radiance spreading until the whole world awakens to the warmth of one shared flame. There comes a shift that feels different from anything you've known before. It is not merely victory after battle, but dominion after refinement. You sense it the way the earth feels rain before it falls, the atmosphere thick with promise. This is the era of dominion, the time when the chosen no longer wait for permission to walk in power, because heaven has already granted it. Dominion is not about ruling over people, it is about restoring order. It is the quiet authority that speaks peace where chaos once reigned. It is not conquest, it is custodianship. You were created not to dominate the earth, but to steward it, to ensure that creation remembers the sound of its maker through your actions and words. For too long, power was misunderstood as control, but true dominion does not crush, it cultivates. It does not demand, it directs. It does not boast, it blesses. To carry dominion is to reflect divine balance, to stand between heaven and earth as a living bridge. Every choice you make becomes an echo of eternity. It was written in the book of Daniel, chapter 7, verse 27. The kingdom and the dominion and the greatness of the kingdoms under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High. His kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominions shall serve and obey him. This verse is more than prophecy, it is inheritance. The authority of the Most High now rests upon his people, not to inflate them, but to ignite them. You are not stepping into power, you are stepping into responsibility. Dominion means carrying heaven's order wherever disorder dwells. It means living so aligned that your peace becomes governance, your compassion becomes law, and your love becomes the measure of leadership. In this era, dominion looks like wisdom. It manifests not in thrones, but in decisions, in how you respond to conflict, in how you lead with integrity when no one is watching. It reveals itself in the way you bless when cursed, in the way you stand firm without shouting, in the way you love the difficult without losing your discernment. This new authority cannot be faked. It radiates from authenticity, from the quiet confidence of one who knows they are sent. You don't have to prove dominion. You simply live it. Your peace will speak louder than arguments, your stability louder than storms. Dominion is not taken, it is trusted to those who have passed through humility. You will begin to notice creation responding to your alignment. Opportunities will open, not through striving, but through resonance. People will be drawn to your calm, sensing safety in your presence. You will not need to force outcomes, your obedience will order them. This is the subtle beauty of divine dominion. It works through rest, not resistance. Chosen one, this era marks the breaking of cycles. Every generational chain that sought to silence your lineage now finds its end in your obedience. You are the turning point, the moment in your bloodline when the curse meets its redeemer. What tormented your ancestors bows before the authority you now carry. You will speak life into dry ground and watch fruit emerge where none should grow. Your words, anchored in faith, will rewrite atmospheres. You will govern not with control, but with compassion that carries clarity. The dominion you walk in will restore others to their own authority. When you rise, they remember they can too. Understand this: the earth has been waiting for this kind of rulership. Not power for pride, but power for purpose. Creation groans not for kings, but for caretakers, those who understand that every mountain, every city, every human heart entrusted to them is sacred ground. Dominion without love corrupts, but dominion rooted in heaven's heart heals. In this era, you will no longer fight for a place at the table, you will build the table. You will no longer ask to be included, you will include others. You will see leadership as service, influence as stewardship, and power as the privilege to protect. That is royal dominion. The crown upon your head now glows not from achievement, but from alignment. The authority you carry is gentle, yet unshakable. It moves not by force, but by faith. When you walk, territories shift. When you speak, atmospheres settle. When you pray, unseen foundations realign. You are not stepping into dominance, you are stepping into divine design. This is the era of dominion, and you are its living proof. Heaven rules through willing hearts like yours, those who remember that the highest power is love, and the greatest throne is humility. You now stand as living evidence that heaven governs through hearts, not hierarchies. Every step you take enforces peace. Every breath releases harmony. And the earth remembers what divine balance feels like. Let your life remain an altar of order. Rule softly, love fiercely, and carry the calm of the kingdom wherever chaos tries to reign. This is dominion made visible through you. And now, the journey circles back to where it began, but nothing is the same. You stand taller, lighter, crowned not only with glory but with understanding. This is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of your eternal reign. The crown upon your spirit no longer feels heavy, it feels natural, as though it was always meant to rest there. You have become what heaven intended all along, a living vessel of royal power. The path that once felt uncertain now glows beneath your feet. You no longer walk in search of purpose. You walk as purpose. Every trial that once questioned your worth now testifies to your strength. Every scar that once whispered of pain now gleams with beauty. You have learned that the true throne is not a seat above others, but a place of inner mastery, a heart aligned with heaven's rhythm. The kingdom you carry is not of this world, yet it manifests through you daily. It appears in how you forgive when wronged, how you bring peace where tension dwells, how you hold steady when storms rise. Royal power is not measured by how loudly you command, but by how deeply you love. It is not the roar that proves authority, but the calm that sustains it. The sacred text affirms this eternal truth, as spoken in the second letter to Timothy, chapter 2. Verse 12, if we endure, we shall also reign with him. You have endured. Through silence, rejection, confusion, and fire you have endured. And because of that endurance, you now reign, not as a conqueror over others, but as a guardian of peace, a carrier of divine authority. Your endurance became the coronation ceremony that no audience saw but heaven celebrated. This eternal reign does not require a crown of gold or a scepter of jewels. It is written in your character, your kindness, your courage. The world may not call you royal, but creation knows your name. The wind bends in reverence, storms lose their voice in your presence. And even darkness steps back because it recognizes the light that reigns within you. From this day on, you are not waiting for destiny, you are walking in it. Every breath you take carries the cadence of divine rulership. You will not shrink to fit the shadows you outgrew. You will not apologize for being radiant. The time for hesitation is ended. The time for embodiment has begun. You are no longer practicing authority, you are living it. And yet, in this power, humility deepens. True kings bow before the true king. The greater your influence grows, the softer your heart becomes. You have learned that power without compassion corrodes, but power with love restores. You lead not to be admired, but to awaken others to their own crowns. That is eternal rulership, the ability to lift others without losing your own altitude. This reign is quiet but unending. It will not fade with time or title. It lives beyond applause, beyond platforms, beyond lifetimes. It is written into the fabric of your spirit, an inheritance that never tarnishes. You reign every time you choose grace over vengeance, truth over convenience, light over despair. Heaven's government flows through your hands now, wherever you place them on the weary, the wounded, the lost strength returns, peace settles, and love breathes anew. You are a conduit of divine order, a living embassy of the kingdom. When you speak, your words no longer scatter aimlessly, they create alignment. When you walk, your steps no longer wander, they trace divine geometry through the earth. When you love, it is not ordinary affection, it is restoration itself moving through flesh and breath. Your reign is not distant, it is here, not future, but now. And it will outlast every season, every age, every ending. For the King who crowned you does not share temporary thrones, he shares eternity. Look around you, the world still spins with noise, confusion, and longing. Yet wherever you stand, peace multiplies. You are no longer a seeker, you are a stabilizer. The same spirit that hovered over the waters in the beginning now hovers within you, whispering, rule with love, reign with mercy. Chosen one, this is forever. Your crown cannot be removed, your name cannot be erased, your authority cannot be revoked. You are and always will be a child of divine royalty, one who reigns not for a season, but for eternity. Walk forward with calm authority. Let the world see what heaven already knows, that royal power has found a home in human form. Your reign is quiet majesty, the kind that steadies storms instead of stirring them. Wherever you tread, peace begins to root. Justice unfolds like dawn, and every broken thing remembers what wholeness feels like beneath your touch. So walk on, radiant sovereign of light. Let eternity recognize its reflection in you. For as long as breath fills your lungs, you will reign not by crown or conquest, but by love unending. And so, the journey comes full circle. You began as one searching, uncertain of your own worth, and you finish standing crowned in quiet strength. Yet this isn't farewell. It's the continuation of a sacred rhythm that will keep pulsing through your life long after these words fade. You are walking proof that light cannot be extinguished, that destiny always finds its way home. If these words have met you where silence once stood, if they've kindled warmth, courage, or tears, then let that connection continue. When you like this message, it is as though you light a candle for someone still wandering. When you share it, you are passing that flame down a long corridor of hearts that need its glow. This is how the fire grows, not by force, but by willingness. When you comment, you speak into the circle of light, adding your own voice to the chorus of awakening. When you subscribe, you stand among those who keep watch, guardians of the word, keepers of flame. And if your spirit ever feels led to give, Think of your gift not as currency, but as breath and exhale of gratitude that keeps the embers alive. Each contribution, no matter its size, becomes part of the fire's heartbeat, helping it reach further, shine longer, and touch souls you will never meet. No pressure, only presence. No demand, only invitation. Because giving, whether in time, attention, or kindness, is the truest language of royalty. So as you step forward from this moment, carry this flame with grace. Let your life be the ongoing message, your words the continuation of this story. And together, we'll keep the light alive until every shadow learns the language of dawn.